Alright, and we're back, and finally in the first city hub of the game. But before we start, I should probably go over the augmentations, because now is a good time as any, right? When you go to the augmentation page, you come across this splash page of various augmentations already installed in this body, as well as the ones you have that you can unlock. Two of them already started in green. These are just because they included the info link and the health regeneration thing just for the sake of, I guess for just impression's sake, or immersion value, whatever. But I'm going to go over the rest, going from top to bottom. Starting with the social enhancer, which is another very important augmentation we're going to get early on, mainly because it's an improvement for speech boss battles. I don't know if you need it. You can probably get away without it, but I'm going to take it anyways because it opens up a new selection of conversations that you can have with any of the speech bosses, and I'm going to show those off when I can. And I've never played the game without it, so I can't say for certain. Although I do know there's some where you can use it, but you don't need it. In fact, one of those is coming up pretty soon. Radar system is the radar in the bottom left corner of the screen, and you can upgrade it to have extra range. Also displays as soon as they're in range rather than having to look directly at them, which is what we have to do now. It's a pretty nice upgrade, but it's not a high priority. It's just something you'll probably pick up by the end of the game. Info link, already covered. Stealth enhancer. It's basically just a bunch of functional additions to various different aspects of the game in terms of sneaking around. Some of them are more useful than others. Like this mark and track thing over here, I've never used. I've never seen a reason to use it, and I don't plan to use it here. From what I gather, it's basically just you can tag someone and see where they're going on screen, and there's really no point to do that. The game really doesn't have you do any kind of tracking or following quests or anything to that effect. There's nothing that you can't handle. Cones of vision is pretty useful though. It's an augmentation for the radar system. It lets you see where other enemies are looking by looking at the radar. It comes in handy. It kind of fades out so you can't really tell exactly where they're looking, but it's definitely better than nothing, right? Noise feedback's the same idea, except for it's about how far away you can be before something can hear you. It's a little circle that appears around your icon on the radar. Expands while you have more noise you're making. Generally speaking, common sense can supplement for both of these, but if you're just looking for something to throw points at, and that could very well happen because you can play this game and have just like 6 or 7 points sitting in deficit and just not using them because there's really nothing speaking to you, this is a good place to spend it on. Last known location is kind of pointless. Usually it's pretty obvious where the last known location is. Alright, the hacking upgrades, which are vital. Outside of the inventory and social enhancer, in fact probably even more than the social enhancer, you kind of need these 5. Because without them you can't upgrade, you cannot hack through a panel of equal level. And even in the first city hub, there are some that are capture 5, and you want them. Actually, I'm probably going to have all of these before I start the first mission. I'm probably going to have them before I finish the first major objective of this area. Camera domination, which is already activated, just means you can hack. When you hack into a computer, you can overtake the cameras and turn them off. It's useful, believe me. Turret and robots, the same thing, except for you don't really need them, but I'm going to get them because they're fun. It's just the general idea that you can turn an enemy's turret against them, or a robot against them, and have to do the dirty work for you. And it's always fun. You just want to see their reactions, right? The analysis add-on is kind of pointless. It lets you just see what's in data stores and nodes before you even get to them, rather than just when you're immediately adjacent to them. You don't need it. It's a very minor. It's not worth 2 points. Fortification, on the other hand, kind of is, because fortification, when you start out, it amounts to precisely shit. Yeah, I think you fortify a default for like what? 1? Yeah, 1. That's gonna slow down the server for like a second. You can add up to 3, which really does amount to a lot. When you have a string of them in a row that you can add an extra like 12 to. It really adds up time for you to continue your hacking progress. Now, you don't need any of the hacking ones because this is just stealth. This just means you have less chance of being detected. You remember that percentage I pointed out? Same idea. You don't have it goes down every time you get an upgrade here. You don't need them in the sense that you can quick save and reload every time you fuck it up, but I don't want to do that too much, if at all, if I can avoid it. So these are probably going to be higher priority for me than they might be for you. The battery, that's just adding extra battery. Oh, no, never mind, not this one over here. These basically just add on an extra energy cell to the 2 you get by default. You don't need them for most things. There's only a couple of augmentations that really chew through your battery power. Definitely not takedowns, which is the most common thing that needs energy. Unless you go and pick a fight and you gotta take down 12 guys in succession or whatever. The recharge rate, on the other hand, is more useful because what that one cell you're going to be relying on for a lot of your takedowns will start recharging a hell of a lot faster, and you'll have more takedowns. And you do a lot of takedowns in this game whether you want to or not, because it's the easiest way to get around a lot of enemies, especially if you're a stealth player. Implanted rebreather is fucking pointless. There's no swimming in the game, so there's no reason to have a rebreather. There's gas. That's the only reason you have it. And any of the gas you come across, you know, the cloud of poison green smoke that was in Seraph Industries, you can generally find another way around, if not just avoiding it, or just, you can usually find like a valve somewhere you can turn, or you can just ignore it completely because whatever's behind it is completely trivial and pointless. Like just a stockpile of grenades or something. And the Typhoon explosive system, you remember this thing. We just brought it back. And we can go and get it. Can we get it right now? No, we can't. We can't afford it. Well, we could. But basically, the Typhoon explosive system isn't as stupid as I made it out to be, but I don't know. I'll get to that. But the basic idea is that it's a radial explosive that emits directly out of his back. I think it's his back. It could be from his torso. I think it's circling it, isn't it? Yeah, like the little dispensers on the body there. Hold on, are they always this one? No, they're not. I don't use it, even though it's really powerful. It's even more powerful than a rocket launcher. Mainly because the game doesn't really set you up in these positions where you're going to be surrounded by enemies very often, and it's a radial weapon. It's kind of there for its own sake. Like, if you just wanted to base your gameplay around the Typhoon, you could do that. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to really get it. I'll probably get it on a not saved load just to show you it at some point. That'll come down the road. There's really no point I can use it here. Cybernetic arm, I told you about the carrying capacity upgrades, which I'm going to get the next one right now. Oops. Confirm. Only need one more. I have a full inventory, which you need badly. Punching through walls and throwing heavy objects. Throwing heavy objects is, well, yeah, throwing heavy objects. You can pick up, it increases the base capacity for how much you can lift, which is basically, from a practical standpoint, it basically just opens up new pathways you usually can't take, including ones here in Detroit that's really just there to piss you off, and probably just to incentive you, give you the incentive to get this thing. But other than that, usually you don't need to. It's just an easier way around, as well as an additional option. Throwing things in terms of combat doesn't really help. You can pelt someone across the face with a vending machine and not really accomplish much. In fact, I don't even think it knocks them out. I think it just kind of pisses them off. So it's really just a matter of navigation. Punching through walls. Pretty useful, but explosives can do the same thing. And interesting note, explosives are non-lethal, punching is. If you detonate an explosion behind someone who's leaning against the wall, you knock them out. But if you punch through it, the only animation Adam seems to have is to break their neck. So if you're going non-lethal, this thing isn't going to help you out too much. And there's a surprising amount of times you'll use that the breakable walls have someone on the other side. Recoil compensation is exactly what it sounds like. You have less recoil. The second one eliminates it completely. Aim stabilizer, which is for some reason a separate one from recoil, is packaged into the arm one. Basically, just means you can move around and have less sway to your gun. It's basically like it's recoil reduction horizontal, basically. Smart seeing through walls, not that useful. Just like the Typhoon explosive system, this thing is here just for its own sake. It's a toy. You can play with it. There's a gun late in the game that is included specifically to cater to it, to complement it, but you don't really need it. It eats through a lot of ammo, and just from a practical standpoint, you're probably going to skip this one. But like I said, if you just want to see through walls because that's badass, then go, be my guest. Retinal prosthesis, the ability to see cooldown timer, which is how long enemies are going to be waiting before they give up and go back to their maybe I just imagined it state. You heard that last game. And flash suppressant, which is just a protection against flash grenades, which aren't used against you all that often, if I remember correctly. It's only for your own sake. Like if you're fond of concussion grenades and you tend to blind yourself a lot, like an idiot. I kind of do that. Reflex booster, very useful. I'm probably going to get this one early. It lets you take down 2 people instead of 1, which the game throws you at quite a lot. You have to take down. You have to find 2 people who are kind of standing close side by side, and they gave the game open them wide up for you to just walk right up behind them and clobber them over in the head. And it's confused me sometimes. Sometimes I think it's 2, but it's only 1, just because there's always a base one up here. Let's see what we got here. Icarus landing system. We don't need this immediately, but I am going to pick it up later because it is pretty useful in the second city hub, which is very vertical. Lets me drop down and not have to worry about, climbing down ladders and shit. Basically just a parachute, but I'll get to it when I unlock it. And note the Icarus reference. This is not going to be the last you're going to hear of the Icarus and Daedalus story, believe me. In fact, it's not the last you're going to hear about Greek references in general. There's a lot of them, and it gets pretentious. Damage reduction 1 through 3, exactly what it sounds like. EMP shielding. Unlike the rebreather, this one is quite useful because the game tends to throw you electrical barriers and hazards quite frequently, especially near the end of the game. And if you don't have this, they can really pose a problem. You can get around them, but it's not easy. I'm probably going to be doing that. Cloaking system, a toy that's not like the Typhoon system and seeing through walls. This thing is here for a practical reason, because the game sometimes gets kind of unforgiving with sneaking around with just practical, conventional jumping between cover mechanics. So I'm probably going to get this one, but not immediately. Probably later in the game. Cybernetic legs. You can sprint faster, you can jump higher, and you can run silently. But this one's manual, so it sucks. I don't want it. I really don't like this thing. Any kind of stuff you're doing doesn't require running very often. You can generally just jump between cover. The game sets you up for that. But these two are pretty useful. If only just because it's better to just get around faster. I think that's everything. Yeah, I'm over here. Sweet. So that's the entirety of Inspector Gadget's augmentations, and you probably notice, well, he has them all already. Why doesn't he just unlock them, right? Well, the game does explain that later. I'm going to let it do it instead of me doing it here. For now, let's go talk to Pritchard. Ah, God, my ears pain. Sorry, I had to take my head off the keyboard there. See, what I don't get is newspapers in the future are going to be more expensive to make, unable to fold or roll up, require a battery, be harder to read, and ultimately display much less information than just a paper newspaper. And don't get me wrong, this isn't some sort of reusable template, like there's just like one in this room and they're just constantly updated with news. Like, it's, a bigger, clumsier, I'm going the right way. Like a bigger, clumsier cell phone. No, this thing is dispensed from paper dispensers and only one-time use. I really don't get the purpose of this. It just seems... Oh.
Well, if it isn't Mahatma
doesn't seem like it
Gandhi
really serves
himself,
a good function to me.
come to honor us all with his life-preserving
This
presence.
conversation with Pritchard varies
This is
based on
about
how you did on the
Typhoon.
last
I'll
mission.
get to it in a minute.
Now, Pritchard. I didn't risk my neck to have you lose it in a pile of CPUs and scuzzy adapters.
Well, look at you, using the big words.
Yeah,
Don't
go
think
me.
just because you hacked through the plant security system so fast that you're an expert on everything computer.
I know what a
There's
SCSI
reason
adapter
I
is
can't
because there's
examine
about like 6
Typhoon
plugged
yet.
up my ass right
tell.
now, and there's
For
probably
your
more plugged up
information,
yours.
I am running a diagnostic sweep on our network and router security to find out how Sanders' hacker got a hold of our codes.
I'd have thought the first question to ask is, whose codes were they? Unless you already know.
Stick
Unless
to
you already
kicking down
know.
doors and shooting people, Jensen, and stop trying to do my job. I guarantee you we'll get along better that way.
Yeah, you're totally in the mood to get around.
Just leave,
Get along
Jensen.
with me. If you haven't killed people in that last mission, he actually had a different comment for you if you went into the women's bathroom. He remarks on that. And I find it funny, because it's actually a callback to the previous game, and I'm kind of sad he didn't do it. That's the entire reason I went into the women's washroom in the previous missions, because I'd hope he'd make a comment about it in reference to Deus Ex 1. I don't know why you'd think I'd go in there otherwise. Kind of flat, don't you think? Oh. View's over. Gotta get out of the turbo lift. Cutscene!
I'm telling you, Hugh, he might not have put the gun in Sanders' hand, but it was Taggart's speech to the UN that started all this.
Well, that's a
William
shame.
Taggart is nothing if not a shrewd political operator. You know that, David.
So for the sake of appearances, I have to look him in the eye and let him bullshit me?
Well, that's
With a
politics.
smile. Always
Hey!
with a smile.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're
We'll
my
talk
only
later.
hope. I just saw a ghost.
Yeah, you wanted to see me?
And then
Yeah,
suddenly not as
how you
cutscene.
feeling?
Note the lighting and the cutscenes are drastically
Oh,
different
we're
from the
done
main
here?
game. That always
Check
bothered
him
me.
with Dr. Markovic at the limb clinic downtown. Can't hurt to get a checkup.
No, good.
Insist. Listen, about Sanders?
Yeah, about Sanders. What the hell were you thinking? Letting him slip away like that?
I really hate the one
Said
animation a
you
lot
had
of
to
people
take
do where they
care
just
of
kind of
things.
lift their hand up level to their chest and just kind of swing it around. I'm going to redirect them.
And I did. The Typhoon is safe. Sanders didn't know about it. He didn't even know his hacker was augmented.
I thought we established that.
Behind this boss.
So you cut him a break? The man broke into my facility and took hostages, Adam. I thought you were ready for this.
I am. Today's attack was just a shell game.
Yeah, so
being
basically,
run by somebody
Sarah's
else.
motivations for going
I
into this
intend
were
to
nothing
find
more
out
complicated than
who
revenge
and why.
and getting the
So that it
Typhoon
never
system.
happens to anybody
Now he's
again.
preaching about
Good, 'cause
hostages.
so do I.
So
That
what was
hacker,
the primary
Sanders
objective of that
group,
mission again, asshole?
You're sure he was augmented?
I pulled his cables out myself.
Yeah, well, the police are saying he's not, and they're refusing to let me see the body, no matter how
Oh, that
much
sounds
money
familiar.
they threaten to pull from their retirement fund.
Well, maybe they didn't
Yeah, I
like
don't
being
like
held
you,
off
so
so
I'm gonna
long
slow
at the
down.
plant.
Is that my head of security speaking? Or the ex-cop? Listen, Adam, I don't want to squabble about this. I
you
need you
don't.
to get to the bottom of it. You still got friends on the force. You think one of them will let you into the morgue?
Depends who I run into.
It gets
Get
it
over to the
completely
station
obvious,
and
yet
find a
Seraph
way
has completely
inside.
no respect for
Because
the
if that
police
hacker
force.
was augmented, his neural hub might tell us who he was. Contact me when you've gotten a hold of it.
Yeah. Now, remember Adam quit over this, in case you remember the phrase, protect and serve has become protect and serve the corporate interest. So, with that in mind, I'm actually going to debate this, because it just seems like Adam wouldn't just so quickly bend over for Seraph, asking him to do something illegal.
Boss, what you're asking me to do, it's not exactly legal.
No, it isn't. You got a problem with that?
Bet your ass I do.
As a matter of fact, I do.
Look, Adam. You know the police never fully investigated that first attack, don't you?
Yes, but
But nothing. We lost a lot of good people, top people.
Yeah,
And I'm
societal
beginning to
structure, the
think
top
Detroit
people were
PD
lost. That's
doesn't
more
give
important.
a damn. Someone is pulling strings to keep us in the dark.
and in your world, the ends justify the means.
My world is your world, Adam. And if getting that neural hub illegally will show us who's behind these attacks, and maybe even help us go after them, yeah, you're damn right it does. So get going.
Yeah, and basically, he's right, but that's basically the situation for the entire concept of a police. Is that the same secretary? It is. That's the entire premise of the police force in 2027, is that they're more of a strong arm for the highest bidder than they are a police force. And the only reason that Seraph isn't able to pull their string to get what he wants from him is someone with even more money and bigger strings is pulling in the opposite direction. Not because they're any kind of legal obligation. Fuck no. And like I said, it wouldn't make any sense for Adam to so quickly bend over for that, because he is an ex-cop who quit over this exact situation. And the fact they even gave it as an option kind of breaks stride for me.
Hey, Jason,
Now,
glad
hey,
to see
who are
you.
you?
Damn it! Now
Let me
I
talk
sound
to
like his
him.
girlfriend or something. Hey,
There you go.
Jensen. Man, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're back. How are you holding up?
I manage.
I'm sorry about Megan.
Got a screwdriver? My arm's
I know
kind of
it must
getting
be
loose.
hard. For a while, we thought you were a goner too. Everything's going to shit.
I'm gonna take my
The
headset off
attack
for this
on
one because I do have to
HQ,
talk.
and now
This
there's
guy's gonna bring up a
factory.
point that isn't really gonna come up again later, and it really, really bugs me.
How about you, Corella? You okay?
So,
I
hold
don't
on.
know.
I'm not going to skip any of this conversation, but this quest is about
I mean,
Neuropozyne. You probably
Well, a
mentioned that,
couple of
heard that
months
mentioned
ago,
before.
me and Tyndall,
And again, I'm going to refer back to the conversation with Malik, because, well, those two conversations with Malik going back to Seraph HQ were kind of important. They bring up a
Realistic,
lot.
fired. Worse, arrested if the company chooses to prosecute. What were you thinking?
I know. It's complicated. I didn't want to do it at first, but there were good reasons. Anyway, now I want out, but Tyndall has security footage of me stealing the stuff and says he'll expose me if I
Yeah, it
ever
almost
stop
seems
helping.
like stealing from the biggest company in
I'm in a
Detroit was
bad
really
spot,
fucking
Adam.
stupid.
I need that footage back. I know you're busy with everything that's going on right now, but I could really use your help.
I'm sure you could. Let's talk about the quest details. First off, the
And I should care
reward,
about
because I
this
am doing this
because-
for a good reward.
Damn, Adam. Are you really going to shake me down like this? That's
Yes.
cold.
I don't know who you
I'm
are.
hurting
I know
you.
Adam probably does.
Look, I may
You
be
sound like
able
a
to
whiny
get my
cunt.
hands on a weapon mod for you. Jeez, never thought I'd have to buy your help.
Alright, now, I'm gonna ask him this dude.
What is it exactly you need me to do?
I need you to get back that security footage Tyndall has on me. It's probably in his apartment. On his computer, maybe.
So
That sounds
what?
easy enough.
I just look him up in the phone book.
His apartment is
Yeah,
near
just about
Brooklyn.
everybody happens to live within the same 4 blocks of Detroit in this game. So I can get there by walking, which is good. I'll bring up why later
Hacking
because
the
Motor
security
City
gate
isn't the
possible,
Motor City no
but
more.
require advanced hacking skills. You might have to look around for an alternate path. Maybe use the fire escape or something.
Yeah, that gate, we're gonna have to open it anyways because we have to go back to that building for other quests. Let's talk about Neuropozyne.
Neuropozyne. What could you guys want with an anti-rejection drug for augmentation patients? Reselling it? Providing a competitor?
Why do you automatically assume I was trying to turn a profit?
Well, there's no other reason to assume that. Neuropozyne, in case you haven't picked it up, is basically over time the body rejects augmentation in this universe.
Pretty
And
ballsy
the reason
stealing
for
a
that
patented drug from a
is
secure lab.
that scar tissue builds up around the augments.
Tyndall and I work
And
the night shift every other week.
basically,
I'm
as a result of
staffed
that,
in a bag while
the
he
connection
edited the
points turn to
security footage.
gangrene,
Guess he kept part
and
of it.
the body gets infected. Neuropozyne is kind of like blood thinner, but not really,
How about
in
Tyndall?
that it staves
Can't you
off that
reason with him?
process, so you
Try,
can
but
continue. You can
Tyndall's
be
a pretty
augmented, and
driven
not
guy.
immediately
I mean, the
turn
guy's like
to
a
a
rock.
fucking
You need a Casey
gangrene
log or
zombie
something to crack it.
monstrosity in time.
Social enhancer.
But the problem
It's an
is
augmentation
that
designed to read people's
it's a very
reactions
tightly
and
controlled
behavioral
substance that's being price
allows you
gouged.
to directly influence people.
Does that sound familiar?
Experiment.
Because it should. It should sound familiar from a couple of different sources. I'll come back to this later. Not the least of which is Deus Ex 1, because this is a
All right.
precursor to a major
Tell me
theme
more.
of that game.
Really?
And that's where my
Wow.
complaint is, because
Thanks,
it
Adam.
isn't the major theme of
I
this
thought I
one.
was done for.
This is pretty much the entire
The
extent of
security footage
Neuropozyne's
will probably
involvement in the
be on
game.
his apartment computer.
Because after this guy, it never really comes up again. Well, it comes up again, but it doesn't come up as a plot
I
point.
got it from here.
And you'll probably notice that Adam doesn't need to take Neuropozyne. I'm going to read my email while I'm in here. Link. Oh, right, that's my password. I should probably look at that. Mandrake. What? Whatever. Right, I remember you. Mr. Greg Thorpe. I got new codes. Yep, this is about the Neuropozyne thefts. Disconnect. I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm not even going to worry about this quest yet. I just want to look at the cameras. Remember what I was telling you about? Oops. Oh, I should know that. Remember what I was saying before about robots, doors, and turrets? The cameras you can turn off by default, which I'm going to do because I'm an asshole like that. And I'm security chief. I can do what I want. The robots and turrets are both access restricted because I can't do that yet. I need to get the augment. And doors are not connected. Basically, there's only ever going to be one door connected to a computer at any given time. Usually it's near the computer. So if the door is involved, you can just open it up and go about your business. Usually this leads to something you might not necessarily need, because usually the computers that have the door access, you gotta hack to get into it.
This whole thing just brings back bad memories. I love working here, but it's hard knowing that any...
Mrs. Reed?
Adam, I'm sorry you startled me. And please, call me Cassandra.
Well, not
You and
really.
Megan were
You were waiting
together
outside the
enough.
building for me.
I was waiting for you.
Out here? Why not come meet me inside?
I don't know. I guess I'm just not ready. This is where
It's hard to
we
miss
were.
this building with the
Up to
giant
me.
gray
It's
snotty
also the place where I
covering
lost
all
my
over it.
daughter.
Well, you spent the entire operation
I know
dreaming
what you
about
mean.
fucking her, so I can't imagine
It's
he wouldn't
never
be
been the same
sympathetic.
for me either.
I guess it's not meant to be easy. It seems there's just no right way to deal with something like this. And I can't even begin to imagine how things have been for you after all you've been through.
Yeah. A lot of things changed 6 months ago.
I can't
Like my
get
bench
over
press.
how much they've changed you. At first, I couldn't even believe you were still alive.
Am I still
How do
alive?
you
I'm honestly
handle
confused
all
about
of
this.
this?
Outside of his arms, I'm really not sure how much of him has been augmented. I might just be a robot at this point. I mean, he fucking talks like one.
They did what they had to do to save me. And in a way, I can do more now than I ever could.
What do you
I'm
mean, in a
glad to know
way?
you take it
You
so
literally
well.
can do more than you could
Many of us
before. You
wouldn't
have
be able to
knives
cope
for
so easily
arms.
with such traumatic changes.
Can I ask why you wanted to see me?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I'm here about Megan. About what happened to her. Or rather, about the investigation into what happened.
Oh, gee, that sounds familiar.
Well, simply put, I feel something is not quite right with the way the case was handled.
You think there
Again,
was some foul play
sounds
involved?
familiar.
I do. Call it mother's intuition.
I'd rather call it
But
common
when
sense.
speaking to
It's
some
pretty
of the
obvious they weren't doing their
investigators,
job.
There were a lot of inconsistencies. And then I met this detective, a man called Chase.
Chase
He
what?
agreed things weren't
Give
handled
me
by
his
the
full-
book,
okay.
although he has no proof.
And now you want to find out more.
I'll never hear my daughter laugh again, Adam. I'll never get a call from her to ask how I've been, or have the chance to ask her about her day. She was stolen from me. However unjustified this all is, I still want to know why it
Wow,
happened.
the voice delivery on all
I
that
can see
lack of
why
emotion
she
is
left
stunning.
you. Not even that degree of mechanical modification could change what she saw.
You've probably
in you.
noticed by now there's only a select few
Please,
different animations that
will
people
you
go
help
through in
me find out
conversation
what
that you start to
really
notice in
happened to
repetition.
her?
And what did she just do with her teeth? Just like she accidentally loaded up Pritchard's mugging animation. No, she doesn't ask about a reward. I don't need it.
I never got a chance to investigate.
I think she
this
gives you one
myself.
anyways.
I'll look into it.
Thank you. This means the world to me, Adam. Really.
The first thing I'll need to do is meet with this detective, Chase.
Good. He works part-time as a security guard in an apartment building on Brooklyn
Yeah,
Court.
that street sounds familiar.
I'll be waiting for you in your apartment lobby once you're done.
Why does a detective need to work part-time as a security guard?
Oh, he
Because this is
retired
Detroit?
soon after the case.
In 2027?
really
I didn't
know
even
the
think that question needed to be
details.
asked.
Maybe he'll tell you more.
I'm on it.
I mean, you're security chief. You probably know their pay rate sucks.
You believe it?
Knows I haven't found another candy bar since that one I ate way back in the beginning of that mission. Chase's apartment. Which one is that? I think it's... Oh, wait, I might even go there yet. I gotta do something else. Yes, there it is. Remember this? You remember this being mentioned on the, pocket thing? What's it called? Pocket secretary? The shoddy gas station? With this fruity fucker in
You
it?
got anything you want to buy or sell? I'm the guy you want to deal
His
with.
name's Grayson, and he's
Everything's
one
on
of the
the
two
computer,
merchants in
right
the
at your
in the
fingertips.
Detroit area. The other one we're going to deal with later. For now, I want to offload some crap. I'm going to get rid of the double-barrel shotgun. So I'll deal with that later. I know I'm going to find more. I know these weapons aren't just restricted to your inventory. I'm going to get rid of him, too. I'm going to get rid of him. See? 750, not 5,000. When I said 5,000, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking about something we're going to be purchasing in about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to hold on to the tranquilizer rifle for now. Painkillers. Back. That was selling, right? Okay, good. Exit shop.
See you soon.
Now I have 15,000 credit. Out of the required 50,000 I'm going to need to buy all the augmentations in the game that are available for profit. And 2 of them are going to be in here. This is the Limb Clinic, which you heard mentioned prior. And this cutscene baffles the shit out of me, too. This, like the music? Like the Holy Angelica music? Like, it really kind of, this, I like they set up like you just stepped into God's domain, doesn't it? I guess that's probably the intention. But then it gets cut short by this.
David Seraph told me
And
you'd
like
be
I said
dropping
before,
by.
the lighting difference
I've
between
just been
cutscenes and main
reviewing
game
the test
are really
results we
jarring.
received on you last week.
Should I start rolling up my sleeves?
Surprisingly,
Or dropping my
no.
pants.
I see no
Or sticking my tongue
trace
out.
of glial tissue buildup in any of your charts.
It's been 6 months, Doc. Shouldn't I be on Neuropozyne shots by now?
One would think, but these test results show no signs of implant rejection. If anything, the bond between tissue and electrodes seems to be getting stronger.
Well,
So
that
I'm free
is
to go?
interesting, now
Well,
isn't it? Adam doesn't need
Mr.
Neuropozyne.
Seraph did ask me to discuss another topic with you. You are aware that several precautionary measures had to be put into place during your first surgery?
Not all of my implants were switched on, I know.
The damage caused by the hematoma had to be taken into account. Your brain needed time to recover, to get used to the mechanical neuroprocessors and turn them on naturally over time.
This is the in-game excuse for the Praxis kits and the system behind it.
He feels that you might be ready to speed up the activation process using special software known as Praxis kits.
You mean I don't have to wait for my augmentations to kick in naturally anymore?
You can, if you prefer. But Mr. Seraph did make a generous
naturally,
donation to Lim
in quotes, is what they're referring to as experience points. The Praxis kits are literally kits we get around as rewards and as finds around the map.
Please, take a look.
Which we're going to buy 2 of them right now. There you go. There's a total of 10 you can buy in the game. Like I said, 50,000 total credits required to get them.
Very well, Mr. Jensen. Use it in good health.
Use it in good health. I don't think there's anything else to find around here, is there? Let's go back here. They made her something to talk
I've been under anesthesia before. Is it true they stopped your heart and the machine that you're breathing? More or less.
That's a pretty extreme goddamn anesthesia. Jesus, I've been under general anesthesia that didn't do that. He's put me under gas for an hour.
It's done through your IV needle. You'll be asked to
Can't
count
get on there.
backwards.
I know there's something back here. Maybe it's later. Or did I just not talk to someone? Oh, wait, hold on. In case you haven't gotten the gist here, Seraph wanted to have the authority over which augmentations I get and which I don't. At least that's what I'm reading this as, and that's another goddamn reason to hate him. God, is this really bright in here? Fucking, wow, it is. It actually reflects off the screen in here. I can't even read this computer. I can read it, but it's hard. Where am I doing?
If you're here for some work, please go to the counters.
What is this, Skyrim? Every counter's gonna have somebody have a quest to send me out on? Let's get out of here.
Protesting is not against the law.
I know that, officer. But some of those guys were carrying tire irons and setting garbage cans on fire.
And those
Well,
were
that
the
sucks.
ones we arrested. The rest were merely...
Alright, so we have our first Praxis kit. I know it doesn't seem like we made a lot of progress here, but we really did. You'll see what I mean. First off, before I go, I'm going to plug these in so I have my full inventory. And I have 2 left. I'm going to buy the social enhancer. Back out. That means my next priority is unlocking these with another 4. And that shouldn't take too long. Before I go to the next major area of the game, I'm going to do that because I'm going to need these soon. Well, normally I cut the episode here, but this has been a pretty uneventful episode so far, so I'm going to keep going for another couple minutes.
For now.
Good. Right now I want to know who that corpse is. Head over to the police station and get his neural hub. And Adam, if you can't talk your way in, consider making a strategic retreat. There's got to be another entrance on the side of the building.
You've already told me to sneak in. But yeah, so I'm going to keep this one going for maybe an extra 10 minutes or so. Because a whole lot of this episode so far has just been preliminaries and other things. Just setting up the Detroit scene and ending the previous mission.
Hello there. Well, you must be Adam Jensen.
Why, yes I am.
Mrs. Reed told me you might pay me a visit. And don't take this the wrong way, but you're kind of hard to miss.
I don't know how. Half the city have random mechanical
She told me you might have
parts sticking out.
information regarding Megan Reed's case and the attack on Seraph headquarters.
Oh boy, what a mess. Total pissing match. We had the feds on our ass, orders from...
I like how this guy's office or
and
desk
pressure
or
from
whatever
so
is
many
just set up on the
lobbies.
bottom
Felt
floor of
like
the
being
shitty
a scrawny
apartment
new
behind
kid
the
in a
gas
prison
station.
shower.
It is a very high-profile case.
You know, working 2 jobs.
Mrs. Reed
Again, this is just something they just put in there to show you the state of Detroit and the United States as a whole.
Reed told me you used to be a cop.
And yes, I did say the
There's
United
always
States,
cases where you see
not
the
the
lazy
world.
officers
We're
taking
going to come back to
shortcuts.
that.
But this was different.
Different how?
Too much stuff got overlooked. People seemed way too eager to jump to conclusions, and every time I was remotely insistent, I got turned down by ranking officers. People wanted to bury this thing fast. That's never a good sign.
No,
Sure,
really?
you have
What
something
gave you
more
that
substantial
impression?
than this.
Yeah, well, that's where you come in. I got a couple of leads I could never fully investigate. I started poking around, but these government.
And yeah, if you're wondering, by the way, that personality type little prompt there is the
I don't want to fuck things up.
That's the social enhancer.
You obviously have the means to get to the bottom.
However, this is not a boss fight or a boss speech battle. You'll know that when they come up. It's way more on screen.
Came from higher up, maybe even outside the local department. Anything
the
like
alpha,
that
beta, and omega thing, by the way, represent the personality types. With alpha is being people who take charge. Omega is being sniped little twerps who, you know, fall into the line and don't like to be put into a position of responsibility. And betas fall in between.
Boy. And when he suddenly got brought on the case, I got suspicious. Somebody wanted him there. And I'm pretty sure he tampered with some of the evidence. You should talk to him. Find out what he knows.
Okay, I'll have a little chat with Officer Wagner.
You'll most likely find him in the lobby. He got retrograded from his conduct, and he takes depositions now.
Oh, so he's
he
an
won't
asshole.
budge easily, but I'm pretty sure you can find some dirt on him on his desktop.
Or I could just
his office
bat him
is
over
on
the
the
head
third
with my
floor.
robo
You
arms.
might find something there to help loosen up his time.
Actually, he is one of the reasons we got a social enhancer.
Yeah, when
you
the order
can't
came
get
down
through
to close
him
the case,
unless you
the
have
bulk
it,
of the
otherwise you're going to
evidence is
sneak
stashed
in.
in a storage locker. Maybe you can find some interesting stuff in there. It's on the alley right next to the station. The code is 4891. But
Yeah,
I know
every
an outside
code in this
agency had
game
access
is
to
only
that
4
locker, so
digits.
be
I always
careful.
find that weird.
Thanks for the heads up.
The big step backwards in
nothing.
Social Security.
And, please, don't bother coming back here with details. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad to help. But the less I know about this case, the better I'll feel.
Well, too bad, because I'm about to ask you about it.
You said an outside agency may have tampered with a storage locker. What did you mean by that?
Well, I've seen, I've heard that government agents may have locked up some of the more sensitive evidence in a safe inside the locker.
Come on, Chase. What are you not telling me?
Damn it. Okay, listen. I snooped around that locker before and found the safe code. But I kinda got caught by one of those guys. He knows I know, Jensen. If I give you the code, they'll know I talked. Call me
It's
negative.
like the mafia, doesn't it?
But I can't think
Again,
of a
it's
nice
a sign of
outcome
how
to
the
that.
police, the kind of state the police are in come 2027 to Detroit. I wasn't paying attention. Shit. Okay, here's our pheromones options. We can appease him, which is an alpha thing. We can charm him, which is a beta thing, and we can pressure him, which is the omega thing. Appease, it works on alphas, but will revoke against betas. Charms will work on betas, but revoke against omegas. Omegas, or pressure will work on omegas, but will revolt against alphas, and so on and so forth. We kind of got this triangle going on there. I think I wasn't paying attention. What was he? I'm going to try charming.
Come on, Chase. You're the good guy, the honest cop. In a police flick, you'd be the straight arrow.
What about the
You
beta
know deep
pheromones
down you
smell?
want to do what's right. That safe code could mean a lot.
Don't paint me as a hero, Jensen. I'm a regular guy. But you're right, though. I always try to do the right thing.
Hey, it worked.
The code is 7.
He was a beta. You can if you're not paying attention to the prompts, it's pretty obvious in how they act which one they are. Like I said, alphas are the take chargers. Seraph is an alpha, for example. The omegas are the people who just kind of fall into line and, get pushed around easily. And betas fall in between as being just kind of the honest group. Basically, your average Joe is going to seem mostly... If you can't really pin them as an alpha or an omega, they're going to be a beta. Anyways, I am going up here for a reason. Hey, it's our best friend! Hey, Pally!
I'm glad you came. I can never properly repay you for what you did, of course, but
sure you could.
I would like
Give
to
me
help
money.
out any way I can.
What'd you have in mind?
There's a gentleman named Sarah who works in the area. His business causes him to move around quite a bit, but at the moment he's occupying an apartment in a building on Earl's Court. If you mention my name, he'll give you a discount on his wares. He deals in, well, he's a gun runner.
Well, they're the only kind of merchants I'm ever going to deal with.
Like that.
Well, besides
Growing up in my
limb
old
cleaning, of
neighborhood,
course.
you learn pretty quick to cultivate certain types of relationships.
Yeah, you don't really seem like the kind of guy who's dealing with drug runner or gun runners. Where's your wife? See what you need to say.
I can never thank you enough.
Yeah, this is even less so when you got her involved. Like you look at this too, and you don't think gun runners in Detroit comes up in the repertoire. You know what I mean? Close that. I want to read this. Okay, this is one of the Hugh Darrow ones. Again, I'm not going to find these all. I'm pretty certain. Oh! I better crouch. And then in their bathroom. They wouldn't mind me helping myself. Oh, I got security team 2. I can't do that. Whatever, let me just show you what happens if you try to do it. Capture software rating too low to hack device. Security rating of 2. Which means I need to go 1 up to hack this panel. I am only security rating 1. I'm going to need 4 Praxis points to get up to 5. And I'm going to need it before the end of the Detroit area because there are... all 5 levels are present in this area. And even then, you're going to come across... Never mind, I thought that was a dent in the wall. You're going to come across them anyways. Let's get out of here. For some reason, the E key is not quite clicking. Wow, that was laggy. I don't know why that came up. Oh, Steam doing its thing again.
I'm thinking about getting my pit bull augmented. Get him some cyber paws, cyber fangs and shit. Throw him in the ring.
Augmentation?
Yeah, word.
I imagine that happens a lot. What do you think this did to the racehorse? You know, like racetracks, right? Robo horses. And then you gotta think if there's robotic body augmentations and some creepy LARPers or something went and got like their legs removed and then replaced entirely with a robotic horse body. You know, scimitars. Wait, am I going the right way? I am not. Damn it. Now, see, if I had the Icarus landing system, I could just jump off the building and go about my business. But if I do that now, I'm going to break my robotic legs and get myself killed because they'll fire up into my skull. Oh, Christ. Which one is it? Oh, it's that one. Damn it, why is that happening? Okay, I get it. Internet is fine. It shouldn't take so much out of my processing for a game. Is he on the second floor or the first? I think he's on the second. No, he's on the first. Now I remember, because this window's different. You gotta go through this one. You can probably use the front door. I don't even remember if there is one, but I prefer this way. Hey, autosave. Sweet. Hey, buddy. Yeah, these guys who walk into the gunrunners' rooms, they only appear, like, once you've come here once, they'll never come back out.
You want to buy or sell something? It's all on the computer. What do you want?
I'm a friend of Greg Thorpe.
Really?
Now,
Okay,
naturally,
I'll
if
give
you
the
didn't
egg
save his wife, or, you know, you didn't save him, sorry, you wouldn't get this promotion. Which only comes across when you buy things, naturally. And he has a silencer. I don't know if I'm going to pick that up yet. I don't remember if there's a silencer available to find. I think I'm going to wait. Yeah, I'm going to wait. I'll come back once I've checked. Oh, he sells those, too. He sells DLC items. Nice. Let me back up for a second here. Let me see what I can sell again. I want to keep the pistol. I want to keep my explosives, and I want to keep my painkillers. Okay. I'll come back to you later if I might need a silencer, buddy. You're probably going to be my primary selling source as well. Alright, so now we have established where the merchants are. You know about the augmentations. I have the Praxis kits from the Limb Clinic. Hold on. One thing before we go. One thing. Any of you who've played the first game and not this one might recognize this scenario. I'm going to shoot from the car. I'm going to shoot right from the dumpster here. Wait, where'd the ball go? Where'd the ball go? Give me that. Stop dropping it! Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can get it in one. Let's see if I can get it in one. I don't think I can get it in one. Come on. Come on. Damn it, I missed it! One more try. One thing that really bugs me about this callback to the first game, when you can do this in the New York City hub there, is that there were two guys in about the same position as those two, but those two guys used to say things like, sign them up for the Knicks and things like that, but these guys don't say shit. And I was sad, because I remember when I first played this, I was here shooting, it came short again. Damn it. Okay, I'm not going to shoot that again for now. But these guys don't say anything, and it really bugs me, because that was the highlight of that scene in Deus Ex, and they didn't call back to that. Well, this episode has been running for an obscene amount of time, so I will see you next episode. Have a good night. This guy just completely mistook us for somebody else, and for some reason didn't even ask for any kind of authorization or confirmation. He just assumed the first guy who walked in the fucking door was the guy who was
Boss, I got the
waiting for
neural
him.
hub.